Ah, Placid Plastic Duck Simulator. A game where, quite literally, all you do is stare at ducks, and wait until your duck meter fills up so you can stare at more ducks. A game that somehow landed one of my favorite Twitch streamers, and his trusty companion, on public television. Surely, in a game as innocent as this, there wouldn't be hidden secrets and unsolved mysteries that the devs are waiting for players to figure out, right? Oh my freaking god. So, I have two reasons I am making this video. The first one being that I want to help guide people on each part of the Placid Plastic Duck Simulator, ARG, that we know about so far, go figure. The second reason is a bit more selfish, because I, quite frankly, believe there are not enough people looking at this game's secrets and trying to solve the mysteries. Sure, there is a niche community that I have slightly been a part of since 2023, but I feel like we need more brains working together on this puzzle if we want to solve this. I hope this video can serve as educational for those curious about this game's mysteries, and encouraging for those who want to help us solve this. With that, let's dive into the hidden secrets of this adorable, relaxing duck game. What better place to start than with the first pool in the game, available to all players from the start. Infinity Pool is a pretty simple map, but one part that stands out about it is the metal door on the back wall. If you click into it, you'll see that it is locked with a 4-digit password needed to get in. The black math duck has a phrase written on his back referring to this, saying, "The door will open when you find the last word is blurred out, but is likely code. Well, I could have assumed that the door would open if you found the code, but thanks anyways, Mr. Math Duck. Anyways, on to cracking this code. If we go to the Quacking the Ice map, there is a curtain on the right side of the room that will open over time. Once the curtain opens up, you will see lots of duck images, which are helpful for different things. Let's go over each one. Top left seems to be the top hat duck riding on a horse. Pretty cute, can't say it's too weird or anything. But the middle and top right ones are interesting. The middle showcases the psychedelic duck in a trippy poster, and the top right shows a picture of a blacked out duck with some incoherent words above it. Below the duck is a sequence of numbers. This sequence of numbers is actually ASCII, which can be decoded to LSDNA. That's gonna be important later. The bottom left picture is of the old-fashioned duck found in-game. And the bottom right image is the most interesting one of all, in my opinion, since it gives some lore to the ducks. We can see 7 ducks playing cards here. The Agent Duck, the Cool Duck, the King of Hearts Duck, the Foul Duck U Duck, the Sad Duck, the Knife Duck, and the Duke Duck, the last of which is not actually in the game. Damn, I wonder how many times I'm gonna say duck in this video. Oh well. Anyways, I just mentioned that the Duke Duck is not actually in the game, but that's not actually true. The community has a theory with some very strong evidence to back it up. He is in the game, but as a ghost. Ooh, spooky. Some key things to note about this guy is that, in the picture, he is actually cheating. You can see a card up the rough in his suit. Also, the Knife Duck is sitting right next to him with his knife pointed out, menacingly. If the Cyborg Duck scans the Ghost Duck in the game states that the ghost is actually a duke and a cheater. So I think it's safe to say that the picture was probably taken moments before the duke was caught cheating and stabbed by the Knife Duck. Anyway, moving past those photos, let's go back to the LSD duck. If you rename the LSD duck that looks similar to the one in the poster to LSDNA, which was the code we got earlier, then we are able to now interact with the radio in Infinity Pool. If we tune the radio, we can eventually find a radio channel with Morse code. The Morse code in this channel spells out the word Hetty. Hetty is the name we will give to the old-fashioned duck, which looks similar to the poster image as well. Once both the ducks are named, their in-game names will turn to numbers. Boom, Just like that, we have cracked the code to the secret door. Punch in the LSD duck followed by the old-fashioned duck's numbers and you will enter the room. Wow. The moment we enter this room, the game feels a lot different. It's clear we aren't supposed to be here. Well, there is a soda can you can pick up here, which I can't show since I already did this. There are a few other things to note here as well. On one table in the room, there is a chessboard and a dice you can interact with. Not really sure if interacting with them does much, but it's a fun fidget toy. There is also a view monitor with some buttons below the screens. You can click on the duck button for a new duck to appear in the pool that we will talk about in a bit. In addition, there are some dominoes on a bench. The pattern of the dominoes will be helpful for later, so it's important to note this down. The last thing I wanted to mention is that the person that was previously in this room clearly had some kind of interest in the anime duck. Now, I don't know if this is just their favorite duck, or if it's an unhealthy obsession, but seeing as there are view monitors of all the ducks, I'd hate to admit it, but it's probably the latter. Well, before I start getting slimy gamer grease on me, let's leave this room. There's not much more to unpack here. If you click the duck button in the room, you will be rewarded with, well, a new duck. This is the QR code duck. If the QR code is scanned, it will redirect you to a YouTube video. Alright, things are getting weird now. If I'm being honest, this video is still shrouded in mystery for me. Seems to just be a video of a guy walking his dog with a really beautiful view. The title of the video is Sopra Luogo Corvaro, reference clip 1. Sorry if I pronounced any of that wrong. Which doesn't make too much sense. When I looked up Sopra Luogo in Google, I found that, in Italian, it apparently means investigation? It would make sense that it is in Italian, especially considering that Corvaro, the second word in the title, is a place in Italy. The developers of the game are also from Rome, Italy. There is also a stamp duck with coordinates on it that point to another place close by in Italy. There are a lot of geographical references to Italy, so it makes me wonder if maybe there is something there that the devs dropped by as a neat little Easter egg. Who knows? Either way, that's about it from Infinity Pool. Pretty cool stuff, although there are some even cooler things waiting in store for us in the space-themed map, which is my personal favorite, Hypospace Download. The Hypospace Download map is a huge map with a lot of interesting features. I personally just love the zany space vibes and music. There is a tunnel in this map that a duck will eventually go through and unlock a dome room with a weird looking machine. If you zoom into this machine, you will notice that you can interact with the duck with the TV head and pop him out of the socket. You can also flick the light switches on the machine. Now, this puzzle is pretty neat. The lights you are supposed to flick on are actually the same lights that were on the dominoes pattern in Infinity Pool. Once you get the light pattern correct, the screen on the bottom left will display an 8-digit pattern. Note this pattern down, it's different for every session. Now you can click into the duck spaceship and you'll see that there is a terminal you can type into. Your first prompt will be a username. Now, the username is actually the same name as the astronaut duck found on his suit, G Toto. It's also a reference to the name of a collaborator of Turbolento Games, Feta G Toto. Cute! So now we know that the username is G Toto, and the password is the same password as what was shown in the bottom left screen moments ago. Before we dive into the terminal, I want to guide your attention to something. If you pause the game, you might notice that there is a folder on the bottom left of the screen. If you click it, you will open the folder up, and likely on your screen, you will see a file called texture.db. I have a couple more files here, which you will have as well if you follow all the steps until the end of this video. The texture.db file appears when you collect the soda can from the secret room in Infinity Pool. One thing that you might notice is that no matter how much you click this, it won't open. Dang, that's annoying. I wonder if there is a way we can interact with this. With that, let's jump back into the terminal in Hypospace Download. Input the username and password, and you will be able to enter the system. Now, having an understanding of DOS commands is important here, but don't worry, the game keeps things super simple. If you type dir, short for directory, you can see all the folders. If you type cd log, which means change directory log, and type dir again to see its contents, you will see that there is nothing in the log folder. Type cd ... to go back. If you type cd forsaken folder, you will enter the forsaken folder. Type dir to see its contents. As you can see, texture.db is located here. Let's try opening it. Type open texture.db. Darn, the file is corrupted. Let's leave the folder. Type cd ... again. Let's go back to the log folder. Type cd log. Then type dir. Wow, now we can see that there is a file called error.log in here. Interesting. Let's type openerror.log. Here's the error code. Seems like a lot of junk, but let's see if we can figure it out. Type cd ... to leave the directory. Now let's look into the MIDI folder, cd MIDI. If we type dir, we can see that there are 3 MIDI files. Opening each MIDI file shows a different sequence of notes. Now each file here corresponds to the X, Y, and Z locations, with MIDI 1 being X, MIDI 2 being Y, and MIDI 3 being Z. The location of the G note in each of these files is what we will replace the X's, Y's, and Z's in the error log with, respectively. With that, we have yet another code. Currently, if we cd into the sys folder, it leads to nothing. But if we rename the TV duck from before to this code, then the sys folder will update to contain an executable file, spawner.exe. Then, all you need to do is open spawner.exe, and poof, you've received another can of soda. Now, if we go back to the table on the first floor, we will see the soda can, but there is also a letter next to it. The letter is in Italian, but I once again used the power of Google to translate it for y'all. The letter reads, Dear Sakura, soon we will be together, 17/08/22. The date is important here for the next part of the video. But before we move on to the next part, I just wanted to mention that another item will appear in the folder once you have completed all of this, called env.scene. I don't believe anyone has figured out what it does yet. Anyways, with that, let's move on to the smaller secrets in the game that are still quite perplexing. The first one we will go over is the missing duck. So if you downloaded the So Many Ducks DLC for Placid Plastic Duck Simulator, you will eventually come across a milk carton duck. It's really cute, one of my favorite ducks. On the duck, however, there is a missing duck poster with some details about the duck, alongside an email you can contact. Man, bro is tweaking out. He needs to lay off the energy drinks. Anyway, if you send an email to this address, you get an automated response with a bunch of duck prefab file names written in plain text. For anyone wondering what a prefab is, it's essentially a game object file in Unity. The game was written in Unity, so it makes sense that it contains prefabs. The list seems to contain all the ducks in the original game, with some mild order changes. The only part of this list that stands out as an anomaly is this one file that is named something weird and nonsensical. There is also an unlisted YouTube video attached to this, although I want to give a quick ducky jump scare warning before showing this. So the video appears to have a monitor that shows the, maybe developers, working on the game. The name of the video is also 170822 repeated over and over, which is the same date as what we saw in the Italian letter in Hippospace Download. That's about all I could glean from the missing duck poster, but if anyone wants to delve deeper into this mystery, please do so. I feel like, after seeing that video, I need answers. There is also another secret in the So Many Ducks DLC. This one actually lets you play a game inside of the game. First, wait for the thief duck to steal a coin from the piggy bank duck. Then, when the thief duck collides with the arcade duck, you can play a game which lets you unlock the Barbie duck. In addition, if you beat the game, there will be a code that appears in the You Win screen, which can be typed into the safe duck to release a document. The document appears in the folder in the pause menu as a readme.txt file. If we open the readme.txt file, it shows some text of a story seemingly involving the door in Infinity Cool. Apparently, the text in this file was also commented by the developers in the first YouTube video accessed by the QR code duck, although I didn't personally spot it because that video has a lot of comments. Either way, I thought the secret was pretty neat and fun to play around with. And that's all the secrets that at least I know about in Placid Plastic Duck Sim. There are definitely some pretty neat ARG elements in this game that could easily just be ignored for the casual players, but fun for the freaks like me obsessed with finding hidden stuff in seemingly innocent games. The developers seem to be adding more and more bits and pieces to the mysteries with each update, so I encourage those interested to keep tabs on this game. In fact, there was a DLC that released last year that I still haven't quite completed yet that could possibly have more stuff. I'm not sure yet. The biggest lingering secrets so far in this game, in my opinion, are the duck prefabs, the env.scene file, the geographical references to places in Italy, and the repeated date of August 17th, 2022. Who knows, maybe the developers are just trolling, and we won't be able to solve these. Either way, I had a great time making this video and looking at all these ducks. I hope you enjoyed too. If you liked this video, and want to stay tuned for other weird media I might cover in the future, alongside gaming highlights for my Twitch streams, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me know what you guys enjoy from this video. That's about it. Bye-bye!